What is up, kings and queens? Peace to the gods, peace to the goddesses. Welcome to Wo.Ke Podcast.
Whoa.
Yeah, so basically we decided to start this podcast so that we can bring you highly vibrational content that will awaken your consciousness. We're going to deal with Afrikan spirituality, Afrikan history, Pan-Afrikanism, technology, consciousness, and basically any other material that can uplift us as Africans and take us to the next level.
Yeah.
What else is there, bro? Oh, by the way, we should introduce ourselves. My name is Odanga. As I will say, first and foremost, I'm a Pan-Africanist, and I'm also on the spiritual journey. I've been on this journey probably since I was born, We were born gods and goddesses, but then we have to lower vibration to fit in this matrix. And so now the thing is to realize our true selves, and it is up to us to awaken each other through platforms like this. Yes, you should introduce yourselves, bro.
You do? So, it's been a journey. Brother Wo.Ke out there, So my name is Wo.Ke, but I go by Billionaire Works. Kujibamba tu, So I guess our audience is very broad. So we will just go with whoever we can.
Yeah.
So at this point, but we are in Kenya, we're definitely in Africa.
From the motherland.
Woo!
We're bringing it to you from the motherland. Whether you're in Kenya, whether you're in South Africa, Nigeria, the US, Europe, anywhere in the globe, we want to reach you and we want to uplift you.
Whether you're in Mars, whether you're in Pluto,
whether you're in Sirius system, like our ancestors.
They're in Sirius, because who knows?
Yep.
Yeah, so let me give it back to Nele.
Sure.
So the topic was we decide. I'm assuming everybody knows Kiswahili. It's a good language. So the topic which we had decided on was AI and spirituality, and it's a very big topic. It's a very broad topic. There's a lot to talk about.
There's a lot, bro. Because I'm sure, like most of you might have heard of ChatGPT. So this has been the latest fad in relation to AI. So basically it's a chatbot. You ask it practically anything, it can give you a human-like answer, And this just shows how much AI has evolved over a short period of time. Probably in the last 30 years, we have seen more progress with reference to computers than ever before in humanity. And so, and ChatGPT is just the tip of the iceberg. It's what has been presented to us as the public. But there is so much advancement going on. And the thing about AI is that it learns in real time, 24 hours, 7 days a week. There is no break for it. It's getting algorithms being trained all the time. And I feel like people are unprepared for what's about to come.
What exactly is about to come? That's the question. What is coming?
Yeah, what is coming?
What is it that is coming?
So, one thing that's coming for sure is what they call transhumanism. So transhumanism is fusion with man and machine. So basically, very soon they'll be having chips, and intelligent chips that can be put into your brain. And so even the mobile phone will be obsolete, because with this chip you'll be able to interface with the internet directly. You'll be tapped into this other reality, a virtual reality, just in your mind. It will be going on in your mind, So is this an advancement? Is this a positive thing? What do you think?
It's more of an augmented reality. With augmented reality, this meaning the images and the lights pop up on the background. We can just see but they're on the foreground.
Na kupata.
Kind of way Microsoft did with their HoloLens. Then sides Apple is doing with their. They have a project, Apple.
I saw it.
The glasses.
They're selling glasses for like $3,000, man.
I say, what are they doing? Okay, it's $3,000.
If I'm not wrong, it's like $3,000, man.
That's me. It's a lot.
You wanna buy gari, man? Unanunua shamba mahali.
Yeah, very small plot. Land, yeah.
But at the end of the day, like you said, it's gonna be an augmented reality. So a reality on top of what we already know. But we also have to remember that as AI advances, I feel like human beings, as the melanated people, we're also going to evolve with it. Because you remember they say about 90% of human DNA is junk DNA. They don't know the junk in quotes. Why would they call it junk? Yeah. Any DNA yenye probably ancestors wetu walikuwa wameshai awaken. It was live with them, you know. So our DNA is dormant. It's asleep, and it's awaiting for the right moment and the right vibration also for it to come back online. So we are going to see people with various spiritual gifts coming into the system. You'll be able to tap into a higher power.
Let me tell you something about this. Like you see, before these colonizers came.
Yeah.
Let's say for the last 500 years, the last 500 years we truly deal with these colonizers.
Yes.
In Africa. So before they came, there were already people exhibiting these traits in their DNA, like the junk DNA was awakening.
Right.
Kufanya vitu zenye wasewe understand.
Kabisa.
Ina magere hapo. That's gonna be killed hapo.
Nakwambia.
This guy imekatililiwa menza, kijipitengwani. This guy has powers. As in, they have literal powers.
What you would call supernatural powers.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So, inamaanisha nini? This is the question. So,
first tell us what's that you're lighting for us.
Yeah. This is Palo Santo by then. In bringing and attract positive energy.
Nice.
So the best thing usually is you start with the sage.
Okay.
Sage removes
the negative energy.
Palo Santo, so it's good.
Nice.
Yeah.
And it's herbal. It's organic. Let food be thy medicine, and medicine thy food.
But we are still burning it, so I feel some type of way. I don't like it. But what are we talking about?
We're talking about supernatural powers.
Yeah, they came to Africa, these guys, and they realized people had supernatural powers. That's the most weirdest thing.
Yeah.
Among Africans and indigenous people, research indigenous people in
Yes.
Because they also had the same understanding and the same expression of the same knowledge.
Yeah.
This was like the same knowledge in different cultures over the world, but they're talking about just one thing, how to harness the power within.
Exactly. And even when you talk about indigenous cultures, at the end of the day, they are basically Africans. They are still melanated people.
Yeah.
Prior to 6,000, 10,000 years ago, Africans were the only people on the planet.
Now they are the only people on the planet. Came from Africa. They're the only people on the planet.
For millions of years we existed. So I even think we have sort of devolved, if there is such a word.
Man, that's what's happening.
And when they say Kemet was like the top point of African high culture, you must remember by the time Kemet was at its highest point, we had already fallen from our highest stage, you know, because when the blue black gods walked the earth, they weren't even on this material plane, you know.
By then they were like,
they didn't need to build so many monuments because they were tapped in to another dimension, to the spiritual realms more. So they didn't interact with the physical so much. They didn't need to do that.
So let me ask you a question. You see, the dream world is not dead. The dream world is alive, just waiting for you to go there.
Right. It's our
so I would say, was it the same thing that this was their dream world? They didn't even care about material things. Their bodies were just here living.
Right.
But their actual selves is this was just one of the vessels. So the opposite was reversed. So they didn't need so much of the
Okay. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I guess that makes a lot of sense, because even
the other side of the actual world, wow, that's why they were making so much of supernatural. They could do supernatural things because
yes, they were connected more with their higher self.
Yeah, the actual real world. This is hello. This is not the world. This is the illusion.
It's the illusion. Not even the matrix.
Like when you go to sleep, you see the dream world, which is a figment, and like someone created an elaborate trap. It makes sense.
It makes sense, kabisa.
Because this matrix is so real. I mean, as I believe, you can't wake up from this dream. This is where we're going to trap you now.
The matrix is a prison for our mind, and reality could be a simulation for all we know. A simulation in a simulation in a simulation. So for us Africans, the current simulation was installed when the colonizers came here, when they came with slavery, when they came with colonization. That's when the current simulation we're running started. And we felt so much from our true selves. We abandoned our gods, our goddesses, our real names, and followed a white savior, blue-eyed, blonde, white savior. And yeah, it's sort of a hypnosis. We're actually talking about this. It's like we are in a spell, a hypnosis, where we are yet to awaken to who we really are.
Manze, that thing was very serious in your compare. What is the biggest image of the black people and the indigenous people in the world right now? This is the single mothers.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but it's in religion where you only see that Mary and Jesus, you see white people only becoming the saviors people.
Exactly.
This white boy became a big, and I think that's also what happened in the slave plantations. Because this white boy, these slaves used to raise, because it was the women, African women used to raise those kids.
Yes. Of course.
So our women used to raise those kids. Then when he would become older, they would ask him, tell him, I reach out to the parent, because the children kind of fell in love with the slaves. They kind of fell in love with the slaves.
Yeah.
So some people actually benefited, when I say when they grant these slaves land.
Okay.
But let's say 40 acre and a mule. We just tell you. At the when they used to 40 acre and a mule. If the grandma had to repeat it. And this was something that had happened a long time ago, but the grandma had to repeat it to bring its relevance.
Could you expound on
but
that?
But to explain. But we were talking about, there was this guy, there was another estate where these guys were given something like, was it 10 acres or 100 acres of land, and the title deed, and there was a monument which was built there to say that this land was given to these slaves. So like, pia walikuwa tena sisi wa Africa. I mean, see, we don't need that white complex savior, but those guys in America, they were pushed to that level where they saw this white man was actually one of the main saviors.
Okay.
Which will be the kid that they will be raising for these white people who knows that our idea. At some extent, that soul food when I'm sure this that's all in us.
But that concept of white savior complex runs deep.
Yeah.
Because I was in Diani like last week or 2 weeks ago. But yeah, it was an epic trip. I enjoyed the ocean. I snorkeled. I swam with the fish. Great experience. But one thing I noticed was 20-year-old girls, 22-year-old girls with white men almost thrice their age, and this is very rampant. It is very rampant, very noticeable. And to bring it back to the white savior complex is that a lot of our sisters, by viewing the white man as their savior, when they're dating these older men, I feel like it's not just the financial benefit they receive, but subconsciously they associate them with their savior. So that could be something they are doing unconsciously, but attracted to them because of the colonialist story. It's a crisis for sure.
In this day and age, always condemn interracial marriage. So in such a place where interracial marriage is no longer viewed as the master-slave relationship anymore. But then again, you can't forget what these people did. Leaders can forget what they did.
We can't.
So it's like Stockholm syndrome. Where the one who has been captured,
right?
He falls in love with the kidnapper.
So the one who has been oppressed falls in love with the oppressor. That's some narcissistic shit.
That's with us Africans. That's why we hate the white man, but we love his things. We love his things, man.
For sure. We love his material goodies.
Also addicted to those vitu kwanza, not even in love. People are addicted to those things. People are addicted to those things.
And as in, we have become too blinded materially that these symbols of power, whether it's a Mercedes Benz or a Jordan pair of shoes or a Louis Vuitton bag, they have become sort of like gods to us, because they motivate us to do so many things. And yet, even in the Bible, Jesus says, seek ye first the kingdom of God, and everything else comes after. So we need to seek spirituality first and foremost, so that once we are on that spiritual plane, whatever we do on this physical plane is of a higher standard, sort of.
So you have to say spirituality is the very definition of the kingdom of God.
Definitely.
Is the vehicle, kupeleka hapo. Religion probably actually has failed.
Yeah, for
We've
sure.
already established that. After this point, we have already established religion.
Yeah, religion has failed.
If we talk about this already, we have already established religion has failed.
If you're on this channel, you must know that for us, religion has failed us as a people, and it is time to go within, And spirituality, I won't even lie to you, it's a lonely journey. It gets very lonely when you're alone in the room. You don't know which book to turn to, who to turn to, and you have demons in you that you have to confront. Yeah, of course. So spirituality is for those who have been in hell and have come back. Religion is for those who are afraid to go to hell.
Well, the religion is very easy. It's just straightforward. It's just easy. You come, show up, do this, do that, go home.
Exactly.
Then your things will be taken care of. They're pampering you. Like massaging somebody or like selling hope or something.
Right.
Because it's just very easy, man. When I do church, like when Jesus will take care of everything. That's just easy for that. But when you are
when you have to take responsibility,
when you actually understand in the issue, they don't understand what is truly going on. You're at disadvantage. You've been blind all this time.
Yes.
That's why we're moving from this place of belief because belief imekuwa for how long have they been telling us to believe? Hakuna kitu ambacho ina happen.
We're in the age of Aquarius.
We're in the age of Aquarius, man. We're in the age of knowing.
Yes.
We're going to ascend and know. We're going to ascend and know. Because in the we're also discussing, you see, someone who believes does not necessarily know. But someone who knows does not need to believe. They know what's going on. They know this is that. They know who this is or who exactly is going on here. That's one thing about knowing. But you're more than 100% coverage of options of what you can do. Like how I'm about you. We should have a contest. Have you ever gone to a math contest?
No. Kumbe ulikuwa mnoma mawa. Ukafika nationals.
Ito school to have only for once chuo tu hapo hivi. But ulifika nationals of course.
Nice.
So they were like manzi kuja kuna math contest hapo patikana. They come to take the best students alafu wanapeleka kitu math contest.
Okay.
That I think that was the greatest lesson ever in my life. I was not taught, even by my own parents. And I was taught by a math quiz.
Yes.
I tell that one which you do in class, the exam, the class, my really math contest. These are all like the best of the best. That thing taught me it's either you know or you don't. It's either you know or you don't. And if you don't know,
you don't know.
And if you don't know, now you know. You don't know, now you don't know. So so you're supposed to know.
Okay.
So and that's the whole thing about math. You have to know the formula.
For sure.
You can make your own formula.
For sure.
In fact, you have to know the answer.
I mean, math,
unless you're exploring, like
math is a language for us to understand the universe. And if we go back to AI, at the end of the day, it boils down to math. Those algorithms, even the very foundation of a computer, it's based on ones and zeros. So if you're able to understand the language of numbers, you have a very good advantage in dealing with this simulation that you're in. Because numbers show up everywhere, and I'm sure we are all familiar with synchronicities. Sometimes you'll be looking at the clock, it's 11:11. Your friend calls you at 11:11. I was at the supermarket and then I did my shopping and the bill came to 3,333. And I was like, okay, maybe the universe is trying to communicate, trying to send me a message. Ascended master, bro. So numerology is something we should all do research about. Try to see the patterns in numbers and try to make sense of them on your own. Because I see on the internet there are many websites talking about numbers, what they mean and everything, but probably every individual experiences the universe uniquely, so you have to devise your way to understand these numbers at the end of the day.
Imagine being inside. So you're inside this thing, then everything inside this thing and around this thing it's eco-coded and it's in tune and they're doing the same thing, but it's only a small part. When you was a stranger, you do not know what you're doing. Like going to a different hood, you don't know what you're doing. So that's who we are, man. I feel like it's connected, doesn't plans they speak in numbers. That's the universal language.
Yes.
Plants speak in numbers. And while nature speaks in numbers, the cycles of the cycle, of the sun and the moon, and the stars, it's just speak numbers to the goddess Maat. And they were talking about the fact that at the original days, it's just the same thing that is happening today. Like in the days of Noah, what is happening today? Things are kind of balancing back to Maat, to harmony.
Yes. Truth, balance.
Yes, balance out.
Yeah.
And so there's this guy who was using religion to corrupt people and telling them videos get balanced out. These videos go wrong. While the point is when things are balanced, when the things are balanced out, that's when everything's right. And to talk about the masculine and the feminine be balanced out.
For sure. Because the universe has that harmony. You know, the movement of the planets, how life presents itself. There's an intelligence running, and it wants there to be balance. You know.
Ukiona laya unaambia una dia una ile kuna pembe and the female una ng'ombe una bull
man,
and the female car una sheep una ram and the ewe. Serio?
Kabisa.
Exactly, you see those two. So
Yeah,
what
yeah.
are the aspect kukwenda like one. Okay, there's one essence at the end of the day, like in
Yeah.
equal partial in the gender and I think impartial as it's supposed to be bound to any gender. That's why it was not because God they're like God he like as we were there, but we've learned a lot. So
yeah, when they were making the books, selecting the books to be put in the Bible, they threw out the woman basically, because the original Trinity was Osar, Oset, Heru,
Exactly.
you know, father, mother, and child. So how are you gonna have a Trinity that's all patriarchal? You know, it takes away from Maat, like you said, from the balance of the universe. So there has to be that divine masculine, divine feminine coming together in harmony to generate life, and that's one of the main reasons that melanated people, you know, melanated kings and melanated queens should come together to build a strong black family, a strong black community. You can't be fighting against each other and forgetting who the common enemy is, you know? Yeah. I see people, you know, men always putting their women down, women always putting their men down, forgetting that, you know, there is a bigger picture to all of this. There's a bigger picture to all of this. Man.
Mama Africa. Now, John, this is if a lot of people understand the fact that before we went patriarchal, we were actually matriarchal. So we were actually, that means we were considering our kingdoms and our families and our whole setup as a society to be majorly the woman based around the mother. Matriarchal, around the mother.
Okay.
It's usually around the mother, not majorly around the father.
Yes.
Around the male, female, around the mother, around the mother.
True.
That's why when a baby wa kwanza alikuwa anajengewa, the first wife atajengewa very, or maybe in some communities, the husband will live in the house of the first wife.
Oh, really?
Then around the house of the first wife ajenge nyumba ya mabibi kao wengine watoto. So it's like a son, alafu inazunguka kwa hiyo kona, you know. So anyway, if we were patriarchal, we also have to confront the very fact that we were actually worshipping not one but many goddesses. Definitely. We had gods and goddesses. Kina Oshun huko hivyo. Kina Oshun mzee. Kina Aset hapo hivyo, kina
Heru, you know.
But the female was
Yemaya, we have
Yemaya, of course.
I actually relate a lot with Yemaya. I love that ocean spirit.
One of the story, those are the things they were supposed to have told us a long time ago. Like
and even scientifically, the black woman, the melanated woman, has what we call the Eve gene. And the Eve gene is the blueprint that creates the whole of humanity. What does that tell us? That this human race, as you know it, came from the melanated woman and the melanated man as well.
I think one of the main things they hate us so much is because when you trace your Eve gene, which is essential, when they trace their family roots, we are not like bound to their family roots. Like, they don't want to compare to
Manze.
they came through our women. The common point is our women, because that is the image. They're like the holy vessel. To make like you know them just say that because kila race na honga no story the goddess. I don't know one story the goddess to be me they're patriarchal.
Yeah.
So all of them was our trace this African woman. So but as I was checking, all of us we cannot be traced back to the same African woman. Some of us have our own women who are our own mothers who are different women. Kuna wasema mothers zao wametoka serious. Some women their mothers were from Atlantis.
Ladies huko.
Yes, India the ladies of course, the Mars.
Yeah, man.
People in South Africa they say they came from Mars. Sasa tunacheki we had mothers from different places coming to one place.
Exactly.
Lakini unacheki these people when you wanasema hiyo story the Eve gene, these are more than human beings.
Yeah.
Who you can just trace the ancestry. Like to one who has interest like this is the one.
Yes.
You know you don't do
because you are extraterrestrial.
Exactly.
You know.
That's why unacheki wanasema in a family. You can find Africa. In Africa, we are so diverse. And that's why we are so diverse.
Yeah.
That's why in Africa, in a family, you can find one brother to another to be so different as compared to one white person in Europe, another white person in America. That is almost similar.
Yeah, the genetic diversity in Africa is crazy. Like the difference between a Kenyan and a Sudanese, for example, is a lot of. Even if let's not even go far. In Kenya, you know, a Luya person and let's say a Maasai, you know, a Luo and a Kisi, our genetic makeup is so different, and this is across the board. So much genetic diversity versus the European, the Asian.
Yeah.
In fact, if you look at a country like China, you know, they basically have very similar genetic makeup.
They all look the same.
They all look the same, bro. Okay, let's not stereotype them though.
Yeah, they all look the same. But yeah, like yo, I don't know what like I'm lost. Again, I think I have to stay with them because I can notice the features.
Yeah,
because
of course.
probably they say the same thing about us. That we all look the same.
True. But the thing is, because of their similarity, it is easier for them to come together.
Yeah.
As you know, it's easier for them to come together as 1.5 billion people and act in unison for their common goal. For us Africans, it will take a lot of higher consciousness for us to say, okay, yes, we are different, we are diverse, we need to unite together.
Yeah.
You know, now we have to have that Pan-African mindset. Pan-African means all, you know, all Africans. So the globe is all African. And we have
indigenous people involved.
We have to remember the great ancestor Marcus Mosiah Garvey.
You know,
for bringing us that mindset that once we unite and believe in self, then this is all over. We can usher in a new paradigm.
Kabisa, ndio.
Hiyo Palo Santo imekubali.
We usher in a new paradigm. We become the light bringers.
The light bringers. Maybe that's too deep.
Maybe that's not too deep. Let's address this thing. If that's very true, if that's the name of the devil, then inamaanisha kila mtu with that name, with any name which has low, is partly related to the devil.
Okay.
Because the Lu part in Lucifer is the light.
Is the light.
So tukisema Luganda, Lukoreto, tumenambali Lucy, Lucas, Lucius, na wale wengine mgeni Lucinda. All their names, it means this poor evil.
Yeah.
Which is very interesting because I did a research and I realized like some people are named after the person who they are considering to be the devil.
Yeah.
Like the Lu part, that part. Then other people, like in African society, they are named after something related to God.
Okay.
Like if you study Burundi names, it means what you could translate here.
Yeah.
The names will mean like, and he walks with God. He gives thanks to God.
Okay.
All blessings be to God, and in the language, and
Yes,
this was something connected to God. Like it's not shaky. Even as Kenyans, some of our names actually somehow connected to.
Yes.
They just talk about God in a way.
For sure.
So even I don't know. There was these people who were the last library just before these colonizers took over and these invaders. Unajua invaders walikuja in different series. Kuna wale invaders, tena colonizer, kuna invader.
But Arab invaders. You know, the East African slave trade was by the Arab invaders, more or less. So it's like every other race wants to eat from the African booty. Everyone wants a piece of that cake.
Well, if your time to like it's enough is enough.
Enough is enough.
We're sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Yes. We want to take back our power.
But I don't take back our booty. Not take back, but it starts with the women. That's the one thing. Not even booty to
Booty.
It actually starts with the women. It starts with the land. Actually, land is a very big portion of it.
Yeah.
But in land, utachukua land, then leave alone. No, you'll take this land so that you can have people living, even if they will be working for you. They'll be living in this land, building this land, developing this land, so that as the land appreciates, what you build on top also appreciates. So we have to understand first of all our women, because that is the very land that, or rather the gateway, the land between. The land between, the land that we get to, land ingine. And it actually goes down with the women, and this is very sensitive because our women all around Earth. It's like right now they've become those women, even, and you can tell this from our music.
Okay.
Because a majority of our music as black and indigenous people, they make about portraying a woman in a certain type of way. But if you look at other people's music, other races' music, if we look at their genres in music, the music is putting them on top. The women are not even showing a lot. So there's that argument, which actually makes sense, because why do we need to over-sexualize our women?
True.
Why do we need to do that?
True. Because you're operating from our lower chakras. But let me ask you again. At the same time, haven't our women been walking half naked for the longest time? That's true.
And they have this festival over there in South Africa. Actually, they were Swaziland. Kuna ingine ya Swaziland, and when they parade themselves around the king, up and naked. But then there's another one in South Africa. When they come together and the women are topless, so like, there was someone who was saying when these colonizers and these invaders came to Africa, they mistook the half-naked women for being prostitutes. Sasa wanachekisa wakatransfer hiyo ujinga huko kwao. So the women, because the women ukichikida prostitutes, they used to wear
long robes. But the irony is the colonizer brought these standards of clothing, cover up everything, and nudity is evil. But now if you look at how their women dress, they are trying to imitate how we used to dress. For us, nudity was natural. It's our natural state. There is nothing to be ashamed of. Our body is not a sin. It's actually a vessel, a temple. And because we had so much respect for nature, and even we were okay with nudity, we didn't have to over-sexualize anyone. It was natural, to put it that way. It was organic. But now once they made sex a taboo,
that's where they really got us.
That's where they got us. And now that's why there is even so much craze with sex, because already we are seeing it as a taboo. So if you portray yourself sexually, people get excited. It's something to talk about.
That's very interesting. Because sex was something that was very open and sacred. Isn't it?
For sure.
In African, we were talking about it. We were talking about the vesica piscis, the vagina.
Yeah.
We also the throat.
Mm-hmm.
Which your picture throat
Yeah,
you know.
It's basically just the same as
there's vesica piscis, and so you see, it's just that's the even your mouth, even your eyes have that shape. When you look at you, shape.
You shape your pussy.
Man, even the one-eyed monster, you know.
Hidden in plain sight, everywhere.
So, if that's the way to go, that's the way to go. Within yourself. But yeah, so if these Africans, it seems they were advanced, man, they do. Or rather, the one who can only master a body, because I say, easy to see what it will talk about monkeys. It does not even make sense.
Of course. That theory of evolution, I see a lot of holes in it. Yeah. So, what's that book, bro?
It's all about Egypt. It has these good depictions of this.
Yes.
The temples. The actual pictures. If you would actually want to go to Egypt and you didn't have, like how the internet has made the world a global village. You want to go to Rome, like you don't have the money to go to. So you want to see what's in Egypt, but you don't have the money to go to Egypt. So
it's a good starting point.
Yeah, it's a good starting point, this book, but you have to get somebody who has gone to Egypt to bring the book.
Yeah. So I happen to have a very good friend. A shout out to her. She brought it from Kemet. And if you look at the book, the sculptures, the monuments, the paintings on the walls, you clearly see these were African people. And so, yeah, knowledge of self, very important. Take time to research about our people. Read books, like look at the pictures. Especially if you follow a scholar like Wo.Ke Podcast. Took thousands, tens of thousands of photos in museums. In fact, they hide a lot of our art in their museums. Stolen art, stolen artifacts. And yeah, I feel like once you have that knowledge of self, you know what your ancestors did, your level of consciousness elevates. And from that mindset, you can do what they did again, you know?
But on a different execution style. Yeah,
exactly.
As much as I don't want to use the word execution, again, it actually boils down to that. How you do it differently from somebody else, because there's nothing new under the sun.
Exactly.
And we know we are from the solar dynasty.
Man.
So we are from the sun dynasty.
The children of the sun.
So there's nothing new under the sun. So what you do, just do it differently.
Yeah.
That's why these guys who invented the game. The game is not something new, but the understanding of what a game is. Which is a game getting a kubamba. Let's just take any mission game, Splinter Cell, Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Adventure game, RPG games.
Right. I like Tekken.
Tekken, but they're gonna adventure mode.
Yeah, gonna mission.
Yeah, you're gonna do my missions.
Yeah.
So once you do these missions and you get to the end, you realize something. You can redo the game again.
Yes.
So
do it even better.
Imagine. So probably that's the whole understanding of how life and everything is created. There is no death. There is no death. If there, we'll start from a checkpoint or from the depending if you're on the way, come over your roads. Because there's a timeline. Come on, there's no timeline. These are my missions.
Yes.
And then when I graduate to the next level, maybe next difficulty. Maybe you're doing easy.
Right.
Then you do hard.
And also you can go back to easy.
Then you do
if
give me God.
If you didn't fulfill the mission, you can go back to easy.
You can go back to easy. Yeah. That's the whole point I was trying to say. You can do the hardest levels. And if you go back to easy and do them like ni kama like you are something something out of this world. When you get practice unafanya kitu yani finesse. That's the word I'm looking for. You can finesse when you do this thing. Because you know the missions, you know the roads. What the best example is car racing games. Car racing games, after you know the road, exactly. You will know how to make that so that's the best thing about games. Games kind of they kind of make people lazy anyway.
A game is a simulation. Like we are talking about simulation theory. A game is a simulation within the simulation of life. You know, so you enter into that game world, harness your skills, do something, and even I think games help a lot to help you think out of the box. You learn how to solve problems. As you solve problems in the game world, you can also solve problems in the real world.
And so you know the games right now are teaching people how to survive. In fact, games teach you how to survive more than school. Because most games do show you that you have to practice crafting. You have to know how to craft your things. You have to know how to, especially medicine. You have to know how to craft medicine from the field. That's all about games. And it's very good that one may advocate for that, because they've made many apocalypse games. And many prehistoric games where people know advance. Like the Assassin's Creed games, like Far Cry. You ever heard of Far Cry?
No.
There's this game called Far Cry. So this time they did post-apocalyptic. So like the US in a failed state. So they did a game about that. So you have to know how to craft your things. So that's why we're being pushed even with this corona pandemic, or they call it a condemic. We do not know what's happening. They're trying to call it either pandemic. So they're trying to corner something like they are forcing us to go back to self-reliance. Self-reliance is another one. Self-determination. Self-independence, but we don't say self-independence. Because if you talk about independent, you have to talk about the dependent. For there to be an independent person, there has to be a dependent. So you have to cancel both ideologies. Self-sufficiency. There's enough for everybody. And this is actually enough for everybody. When you travel to Nairobi, you realize there's all this land. Like, all this land is just bare.
Vast tracts of land bare.
Wow, but we're not populated.
We're not overpopulated at all. There's so much empty land in the world, you know, and it's up to us to find innovative ways to work the land, grow our food. And speaking of food, it is up to us to actually take back our health. Start eating organic. Start eating plant-based foods more in your diet. You'll feel your vibration rising. And I mean, if you're into the spiritual journey, diet plays a huge role. Huge role, yeah. For example, with CMOS, CMOS will increase your energy. You'll be able to fight diseases easily. Even your libido.
Dr. Sebi.
If you're into that kind of lifestyle, to increase your libido as well.
Strength. Badminton. But everything is supposed to give you more strength. Sexual energy is actually one of the biggest barometer.
Definitely. Of your health.
Like you want to measure how much energy you're getting from this something that you're consuming.
Look at your
sexual energy actually.
Sexual healing, bro.
If it's giving you that vibe, and of course you're trying to look for your suitable partner. We don't talk about the people with the many letters in the name, but we're talking about. Okay, in Africa we do understand that it's a man to woman and a woman to man thing. They don't do anything beyond that.
Well,
you understand?
I would say the foundation of the African family centered on the man, woman, and children. But I won't refuse that along our history, there might have been people with other gender preferences. You know, and we respect that. At the end of the day, as they say, love is love. what we are trying to say though is that as the African family, we have to have our priorities straight. We have to realize that for us to keep strong, we have to pass down our genes to the next generation.
That's what I'm trying to say, because it's not this vast LGBTQ. It's not a big issue.
Yes.
But it's actually not even a big issue the way we
have bigger problems to deal with.
Because our issue should be simple. We are supposed to sit down and understand how are we going to help our kids understand gender roles.
Exactly.
And how to pass on their genes and gender roles to the next generation. So we're checking.
Because the LGBTQ agenda could be very dangerous for the African family. Because, for example, if you start teaching kids that a family can have mommy and daddy, at the same time, a family can have mommy and mommy or daddy and daddy. They grow up confused.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. Gender roles. They need to know gender roles.
We have to look at the biological makeup of us as human beings. That should be the starting point. Realize that there is masculine and feminine. All the others are more or less a preference. It's not something you're born with. It's a preference. You prefer women. If you're a woman, you prefer women. If you're a man, you prefer men. You want to change your gender, fine. But at the end of the day, we have to realize the importance of having that family structure as for Africans first of all.
Yeah, we have to it's not nationalism, but it's sense of patriotism, but on a very different level. We have, everywhere we go, we have to be grounded to say, this is who we are, and we have to resurrect, but for lack of a better word, resurrect our identity and our respect around this thing.
For sure.
Now we're talking about Africans and indigenous people, of course.
Exactly, the original people.
We would want our need to be recognized once more, because how dare we give these people everything and have them to push a chini for pyramid, and we are like the tutors like nothing. It makes sense, man. When you have nothing with this human being, I mean,
we literally created them.
Yeah, wasn't like
they are our children.
You're gonna give this person everything. This person is going to consider you nothing.
But it starts with self-confidence, because the battle begins in the mind. Once you're free in the mind, then everything else comes easily. So as long as we are still in mental slavery, it doesn't matter if we get atomic bombs, if we get top grade missiles, we have still lost. We are still in bondage. We have still lost whatever. But once we are free, once we reclaim our true selves, any other war we can deal with that, as long as we are free in the mind.
We have to emancipate ourselves from mental
slavery.
None but ourselves.
No. Marcus, Messiah, Gavi. No, it's actually Gavi who came up with the Bob sang it.
So this is the same way he did with Lily. That song called War. And he quotes excellence here. And philosophy, that one race being superior
and another race
inferior.
Everywhere is war. Until the color of a man's skin is of no more significance than the color of his eyes, then everywhere is war.
That guy was he was a prophet.
A prophet for sure. For sure. I mean, I will say Bob Marley has played a huge role in my journey. While I was in religion, still listening to his songs awakened me in the subconscious level. I was just enjoying the music back then, but actually subconsciously it was laying the foundation for where I am right now. Yeah, so tap in with Bob Marley, folks.
The Rasta journey, I guess for men, let's not pity Rasta journey. I don't know for women, because the thing about our women, they're more inclined to be most of them, not all of them, but most of them are more inclined to be in the Western religions. But like our men, tunaanza ku gravitate back home. And one of the biggest schools of thought that we go through is the Rasta community, or the Rastamans. The teaching of the Rastamans who because I think it won't be I think it's usually about how they say it. Because you're like, you're saying something that should actually live one with nature.
We have to respect Rastafarians for that oneness with nature, living as we are supposed to live as the original people. And it's a true African religion, I would say. Homegrown religion. And definitely a great starting point. Or even if you are inclined to be on that journey, I think it's a much better sort of religion than the other ones.
But then they usually say it's not a religion like in Isato. So could we say that this was the old Rastaman back in the day of King Tata? This is not.
Tutankhamen himself, gold mask. Yeah, this is gold mask.
Yeah.
Put on his tomb. Gold. You see how ancestors were evolved like that. On his eyes there is that lapis lazuli, crystal. Why would do you think these are dreadlocks on his head? Or?
Yeah, this thing of course it covers the locks behind. Which is very fascinating because have you ever seen judges? Judges, the way they wear the Izuma weaves out.
Man, those weaves are a disgrace.
See, they look like this. We'll show you another picture. Upper chin, they look like this. So I mean, even how the Pope dresses, they actually copied from the.
Yes.
They copied from these Egyptians because
definitely
in Africa, what we were like the king. There was a spiritual leader kando.
Yeah.
There were warriors kando. Kuna generali kulikuwa na warrior kando. Na kulikuwa na royalty people kando. Lakini the king alikuwa a priestly warrior king. Definitely. He was a priest, he was a warrior, and he was also a king at the same time. Exactly. So what kind of Shaka Zulu? Shaka Zulu was playing around.
That brother, showed the colonizers who's boss.
So that's what you're supposed to go. And I guess for these people, because we are the original people with these stories of superheroes, as in they actually, if you study a lot of Marvel and DC comics, most of the superheroes, they have either they get it from Africa, specifically Egypt, or
and even the Yoruba gods and goddesses, their stories are very much similar to the
Marvel
comics.
So either they get it from Africa or they have a character who's molded, like the way they did Yeshua and Jesus. When they come wakachukua a black character, they made it white. So the Marvel comics, they've done the same thing. And these are my DC comics. So there are many characters. Hata chini ya maji tu. If you actually study, you'll hear the origin of their power actually comes from something Egyptian or something. Something Egyptian. They won't say African, but they'll say Egyptian. So they're not foolish. They know where the center of power came from. When you're ongelea superheroes,
definitely they know who we are.
They know exactly
who we are.
But people are flying up.
So that's interesting because even as we look at AI like we are doing,